Hola querido amiga, querido amigo, bienvenido a mi canal Nuevos Tiempos. Hoy les traigo una reacción a un video muy importante que yo considero que ustedes deben saber. Se trata de un video que he extraído del canal de Andrea Alerta. Ella se ha tomado la molestia de traducirlo al español para poder entenderlo y toda la gente que es hispanohablante pueda saber de la verdad de lo que está ocurriendo estos días durante el encierro. Sin más vacilación, en el video podemos ver a Timothy Charles, que es un periodista afanado en el tema de la de descubrimiento de noticias escondidas para todas las personas común y corriente. Este video te va a llevar a entender de lo que está sucediendo ahora mismo, primordialmente en Estados Unidos y a nivel mundial, con respecto a ciertas personas muy acaudaladas que han llevado un estilo de vida escondido, donde han raptado niños de sus padres y han tenido prácticas sexuales, y todo esto lo llevan a otro nivel satánico. Entonces, sin más vacilación, vamos a ir a este vídeo que les voy a presentar ahora mismo. Y no te olvides de darme un buen like si te gusta el video, y no olvides también de compartirlo, que es muy importante que las demás personas lo sepan. Te invito también a que te suscribas para que veas siempre los vídeos, y no te olvides de activar la campanita para que seas el primero en ver ese tipo de información. Muchas gracias y que tengas un buen día.
I got a little bit better of a connection than I did before, so I'm going to try this again. This is Timothy Charles Homseth with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. And I might be getting messed with by Facebook on this one. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, and then we'll work around that later. Maybe it is working. Okay, as I stated earlier, it's come to my attention that Alex Jones is trying to spread chaos and confusion and fear over at InfoWars. He's making bogus crap statements about that he's going to release the name of Q and all this other crap. But regardless of what Jones says, Jones is Alex Jones. That's not his real name. His real name is Bill Hicks, and he's a foreign agent. He's an enemy of this country, and he's been working with. Okay, now it's starting to work. He's been working with another con man, another Hillary Clinton person, a deep state guy named Craig Sawyer. Back right after President Trump took presidency, he issued an executive order where he declared in his first days, he declared that he was going to put an end to all this child trafficking and serious human rights violations. And right after he did that, Alex Jones and Craig Sawyer, they did this big rollout where they said there's kids in cages and this and that, but it's never on the news. And Vets for Child Rescue is gonna go find all these kids. It's all bullshit. I mean, the kids really were in the cages, but what they were doing was they were putting Craig Sawyer out to be the front man. He was supposed to be the front man on that, and then they control the narrative. I went after Craig Sawyer. You can read it all. Go to timothycharleshomseth.com and you can see I exposed him big time. And he's a liar and a con man, and he's a Hillary guy. They didn't rescue any kids, so it's all bullshit. Then he went out later and he actually, when I reported that 2,100 kids had been found, been rescued by United States Marines out in California from underground bases and bunkers, Craig Sawyer went on a video and actually tried to suggest that was a lie, that there weren't any kids underground, which leads us to right now. What everybody needs to know right now I'm going to try to give you some perspective of what's going on around you, because everybody doesn't know the things that I know. And so the news can be very confusing, because first of all, if you're looking at the news from your TV, you should shut it off, because you're being completely lied to. That's deep state. But what you're seeing, folks, is with this coronavirus thing, it's confusing, because my understanding is that yes, it was a bioweapon attack. But you got to remember, we're in a war. There's good guys and bad guys, and they're fighting. And Trump and his generals, General Milley, they're the good guys. And there's a war going on. And yes, coronavirus was a bioweapon. But what happened was the good guys knew what they were going to do. And my understanding is the good guys tainted like a huge batch of the adrenochrome that those Satanist freaks and Luciferians drink and inject and such to get high. And that adrenochrome comes from tortured children. And so that's why you're seeing all these Hollywood stars and such getting sick or getting the coronavirus, because they use the wrong strain. Because anyway, so what you're seeing is it's a war, and pay attention to, this is what you're going to need to know. Look around you, watch the news, and you're going to be hearing of earthquakes all around. And you may hear of tents setting up. I think there's tents setting up in Central Park. Okay, and Navy ships, Mercy and Hope. Okay, what you're seeing there is those ships are for kids. They're pulling the kids out of the ground. Now, this is why I'll go back for a moment. Back in October of 2019, I reported that 2,100 children had been found or rescued by United States Marines. Now, that came from my Pentagon source, and I knew that it happened, and I gave you all the details back then. When the video of it reached about 100,000, YouTube took it down, and I started receiving threats on my life. But so what's new? Okay. So that was back then. That was just one rescue operation, and they brought up 2,100 kids. And I believe what you're going to be seeing now is they're bringing up the kids on a mass scale. And I think my intel sources tell me that this actually wasn't supposed to happen this quickly. This wasn't the plan. But I can't go into what I know, but my understanding is it's some very, very significant, horrific things happen. And Ivanka Trump, who's now she's now in charge of the task force. Ivanka said, we're bringing the smackdown, and they're doing it. So now, when you saw, I think it was President Trump's coronavirus update yesterday, as you saw, it wasn't he wasn't so much talking about the coronavirus as he was on with his generals, and he was telling you a war plan. We're in the middle of a war with the Navy. We're using the military, and and when they're telling you that it's a war on narcotics, they're rolling this out to you slowly out. So I'll couch this by saying I'm giving you my opinion. When they tell you that it's a war on drugs and narcotics, it's a war on drugs, all right, but the drug is adrenochrome. And adrenochrome comes from tortured children. Now, you got to brace yourselves for what you're going to be learning, because you're part of you is probably going to not even want to live on this earth anymore after you hear what they were doing to your children right underneath your feet, while a lot of you did nothing. And I'm not. Most of the folks that are probably watching me are awake and understand this, but I mean, I still get angry when I think about this, because I started exposing this 10 years ago when I uncovered the evidence that led to the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein and the black market baby sales that were going through the Ukrainian embassy. I started telling on this years ago, and it's all that happened to me was death threats, and I got put in jail. And so, yeah, it's a sore spot with me to even get through this shit, even doing this video right now. But I have to do it because second. They switched this Facebook thing now. I don't like what they did with it. So it's hard for me to watch my comments over there because the pop-ups keep coming on what everybody's saying. Trace Remington says, I stood up. Yeah, Trace Remington stood up to the Clinton machine too. And by the way, Trace Remington uncovered the where they were making the child pornography for Hillary, and they set Tracy up and she had to go to prison. So that's what happened to those of us that started talking about this a long time ago. But anyway, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. But I want everybody to don't pay attention to Alex Jones. He's totally full of shit, and he's going to get arrested. So is Craig Sawyer. All those guys are. The best I can do is say go to timothycharleshomeseth.com, use the search bar, and find out what I've been writing about, because I'm the guy. I'm on the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. How do I know these things that I know? Because I'm part of the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, because I know where I've been, where I've gone, and what I've done, along with the rest of the task force over the last many months. You again, just follow my work, and you'll see where I was, and you're gonna see that what you're seeing now is where I was at then. But so I'm trying to. Alexandra Fry said she's waking people up. Good. Keep doing it, Alexandra. That's wonderful. Okay. Yeah, I think I was talking about Jones and Sawyer. And it's not just Jones and Sawyer, but Alex Jones has been around for decades, and he's got a big following, and he's trying to drum everybody up. He wants riots to start. The guy's going to get arrested. He's a foreign agent. He's a liar, and his name is Bill Hicks. Alex Jones isn't even his real name. He's an old comedian that joined an intelligence group and faked his name. Faked his death and started a new identity as Alex Jones. He's a total con man. I'm kind of watching if there's any. What do you think the girl is that Trump said they rescued her and told? Who do you think the girl is that Trump? I've got some intel about that, but I haven't confirmed it, so I'm not going to say. But I'm glad you brought that up, Robbie Ellison Marsh. I'm glad you brought that up because, again, what you're seeing now is confirming what I've been telling you the whole time. And President Trump the other day, he talked about somebody that they rescued, and they had the military do it. General Milley did it. He said General Milley took care of it. Yeah, he sure did. General Milley sure did. And they've been taking care of it for a long time, but you're going to see it's on now. It's on. I think the arrests are probably going to happen. So you're going to see some chaos in your country now. You're going to see it, but everything from I've seen, and I've got a much better perspective than most people because I'm right inside the middle of it. President Trump, I'm not sucking up to my president. This man is absolutely brilliant. The way he's been able to mitigate this bio attack, and the way that he's been able to handle this, and so far, they haven't been able to turn our country upside down. And now the guy's brilliant. And when the military guys that you see standing beside him, this is a military operation. You'll hear people say, "Oh no, the military can't act inside the United States." Yes, they can. They can if it's international crime, and that's what the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force has primarily. That's our primary mission has been to uncover evidence of international trafficking. And there's so much I could tell you, but I can't tell you. But I can tell you I'm looking at the map. I know damn well where the earthquakes are going to happen. I just can't tell you because then the bad guys know too. You watch the West Coast, you watch the East Coast, and you watch the South. Actually watch the North too, because something really significant happened and I can't talk about it. But this isn't what you think it is. It's a war And they've taken our children. And folks, this goes all the way back to Babylon. This didn't just happen. The whole underneath of our country and all around the world is underground chambers where they keep children. And what they do is they torture them to create a drug called adrenochrome. And that's what all these freaks get high on, all the way from Hollywood to Washington, all these monsters. It's us against them. President Trump is against them. And so when you hear people like Alex Jones, whatever, trying to stir fear up in you and say, no, the New World Order's taking over. Oh, yeah, they're going to take us over. No, they're not, because President Trump and General Milley aren't going to let them. I know what's going on. I know a lot. And if the New World Order was taken over, folks, you wouldn't be being shown, you wouldn't be learning, you wouldn't be finding out about kids in underground torture chambers. Thousands and thousands and thousands. This is going to be worse than, if you thought, when you read history and you read about Auschwitz was nothing. Auschwitz was a picnic compared to what you're about ready to find out. Janie Hicks. President has the same body build as my dad, and my dad was a leader, a strong man, and a protector of his family. And see, these things keep popping up and ruining it. I can't read it in our country. Yes, President Trump is a big guy. Actually, if you look at him on the news conferences, I mean, he stands taller than almost everybody there. I don't think nobody's tall. He's 6'3". But if you see Barron's taller than his dad. Subterranean, that's right. Absolutely. Here comes blowing up the tunnels, Trace Remington. Yeah, it's the blowing up the tunnels that that's what's shaking the earth. That's what's coming off as earthquakes. These aren't earthquakes. Trace Remington, thank you for Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. Trace Remington has been a wonderful resource for our task force. Trace is a go-to. Trace is a go-to when we're in a frickin' jam and we need something done for real. We go to Trace Remington. Lucky Charlie, are they going to ever tell the public about this? Do we ever get real media? Yeah, you'll find out about it. But you got to think about it. This is why I'm not trying to be ghoulish when I tell you about what you're going to find with these kids. They can't just put it out there, or the deep state and the New World Order freaks will get what they want, because people are going to go absolutely crazy. Now, as I reported when I did the 2,100 children in California story back in October, when I did follow-ups with my Pentagon man, he told me that most of those kids that they found under there had been abducted by Child Protective Services. They're not snatching all these kids off the street in vans, like the proverbial picture you get in your head. I mean, they do that sometimes, but they've converted our judicial system into a human trafficking operation, and they're just taking people's kids from them. They trafficked me. The deep state trafficked Timothy Charles Homseth when they arrested me, because it wasn't really an arrest, it was a kidnapping. They didn't have any constitutional authority whatsoever to put me in their private jail and torture me. But they did. And that's because of everything that I knew. That's why they did it. But it was human trafficking. And it's the same thing with these courts they call family courts. There exists no such thing as a family court under our form of republic. And a republican constitution, the United States, that's a Sharia law. Think about it. Family court, one judge gets to decide that they can move your child away from you and put it over here in this foster home, and then the child disappears. Yeah, because the foster homes aren't really foster homes. They're part of a child trafficking conduit. That's where all the kids are disappearing. This came from my Pentagon guy. I already know all this. And they're also trafficking just the population, just people like me and you. They can grab you off the street anytime they want. These police officers, they're policy enforcers. They work for a corporation. These aren't constitutional arrests. Study up on the Constitution. Look at what it is. What is it when you break the law? Very few things, really. Assault, battery, treason, basic things, but I don't want to get off too far into that. But the whole world is a human trafficking operation that's being run. Well, basically, it's like a pyramid, and at the very top. But in our country, what you want to focus on is your courthouses. They're not really courthouses. Look at the flag. If there's gold fringe around it, they're not following the Constitution. This is what I learned, folks, and this is a fact because when I was supposed to show up for trial in Minnesota on August 26, 2019, so some of you might be familiar with that, I didn't show up. And what happened? They put a warrant out for me. Where's that warrant good for? That warrant is good for, it's either 12 or 15 miles from that courthouse, and that's it. Why? Because they didn't have jurisdiction. Why didn't they have jurisdiction? Because I demanded proof of jurisdiction and they couldn't give it. The courthouse is actually a foreign vessel in dry dock. And so when I kept showing up, I was walking onto their jurisdiction. That's why they had power over me. I was walking onto a foreign vessel. But as long as I don't go back into their jurisdiction, they have no authority over me whatsoever. It's all perceived. And that's how they're trafficking everybody. But most of the people that you see get arrested and they're charged with violating a statute, those are fake rules made up by barristers, by bar members. They're foreign agents. Anyway, I'm not going to go off too far into that. Just be aware that the world is changing as we speak right now. That's what's going on. That's why they're going crazy. There's a war going on big time right now, where the players' names come out publicly. They need to. Yeah. I believe everybody's names will come out publicly, and everybody keeps talking about Hillary Clinton. And it's like, folks, the world does not revolve around Hillary Clinton. This is a worldwide trafficking operation. They're torturing kids. They're eating them. These people, they're Luciferians. They're most of these people, they look like a human being, but what they actually are is a host body for a demonic entity. So it looks like a person, so you think it's going to act like you or somebody that you know, like somebody you love that's good to you. No, they don't have the Spirit of God in them. They have a demonic entity is governing that body. And that's why they torture children. They love to hear them scream. They call it the sound of a screaming, the beautiful music of a screaming child. They drink their blood. They eat them. And everybody that thought I was crazy back when I was saying this, you're about ready to fucking find out. You're about ready to find out now. Because keep an eye on New York right now. You're going to start finding out what I was trying to tell you. And like I said, this is a soft spot for me. Whatever. I'm not going to make this about me. Is Pence a good guy? No. I'm not going to talk any further about Pence. The president knows what he's doing. Things have to be done that don't make sense. And if I could sit here and tell you everything I know, then I could make sense out of it. But I can't tell you everything that I know. What I can tell you is to stay calm. And don't let freaks like Alex Jones, because he's one of them. That guy, he's a host body, folks. Alex Jones is a host body for a demon. So is Craig Sawyer. These people are Luciferians. They're not like us. Holding our breath in the UK. Jesus is with us. Yes, and by the way, this whole thing, everything surrounds Jesus Christ. Their enemy is Jesus Christ. The only way you can win is to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and base your whole life around Jesus. Everything is about Jesus. That's who scares them. I don't scare them. President Trump by himself doesn't scare them. Jesus Christ, the Spirit of Jesus Christ in us is what scares our enemy. And they are powerful. That's why I say don't misunderstand. Don't think that President Trump can wave a magic wand and make this go away. They've been building up these underground things. Some of these caverns have been around since the beginning of the world, since Noah's flood. They just keep using them. I know what's going on. I just know things I can't tell you. I'm just trying to tell you what to watch for, because we're in a war. There aren't any timelines in a war. That's all I can tell you. I can tell you that you look at your maps where you're seeing the earthquakes. I know what's going on because I was there. I know what's going on, and the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force knows what's going on. We can't tell you everything we know, but they're pulling kids out of these dungeons. It's hard for me to talk about this, but that's what's going on, and you're going to see it. And freaks like Alex Jones and Craig Sawyer, they're trying to steer you away from that. You wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing if the good guys were in control, if the bad guys were in control. Jones is going to try to convince you that y'all need to uprise because the New World Order's taken over. No, they're not, because if the New World Order was taken over, you wouldn't be seeing certain things that you're seeing, particularly with the children. You wouldn't be seeing this, and you wouldn't be seeing our military going after narcotics cartels. And actually, the big drug that they're selling is adrenochrome. Get Oregon. I mentioned Oregon. We found the shoe trees in Oregon. You can go look at that on my website or on the High Command YouTube channel. We received intel where to go. We went where we were told. We found what we were supposed to find, and there's way more coming. It's just that before I run my mouth, I have a chain of command that I have to run it through too, so I don't screw something up really bad, and I don't want to get anybody killed, especially soldiers. But I can assure you folks, these arrests, these things that are happening, this is happening because of military generals. I know, because I know their names.